If you really want to get those mind-blowing results from AI like ChatGPT, the most important skill isn't about coding at all, it's about communication. So let's dive into what's called prompt engineering, the art and the science of the ask.
We've all been there, right? You ask an AI a question, and the answer you get back is just underwhelming. It's generic, maybe even wrong. It feels like the machine just isn't getting it. But what if the problem isn't the AI? What if it's how we're asking?
I mean, just look at this. It's a perfect example of the night and day difference. On one side, a vague prompt like "tell me about AI" gets you a pretty generic textbook answer. But on the other side, a clear, targeted prompt, that gets you a precise, actionable summary. That's the power we're going to unlock today. So here's our game plan. We'll start with what prompt engineering actually is, then we'll build your core toolkit for crafting great prompts. After that, we'll explore some pretty cool advanced techniques, and finally, we'll see how it all works in the real world.
So let's get right to the heart of it. What is this skill that sounds so technical but is really all about the art of communication?
At its core, prompt engineering is really just the process of carefully crafting your questions and instructions, your prompts, to get the most accurate, relevant, and useful responses from an AI. Think of it like you're designing with your words.
I love this analogy. If you give a brilliant assistant vague directions, you're going to get a vague result. It just makes sense. But if you give them clear, precise directions, they can perform amazing tasks for you. The AI is that assistant, and your prompt, well, that's your set of directions.
All right, so now that we know what it is, let's get into the how. In this next part, we're going to put together a practical toolkit you can start using right away. It really all boils down to these three fundamental keys. First, you've got to be specific to narrow the AI's focus. Second, you need to set constraints to define the boundaries of the output. And third, provide examples to show it exactly what you mean. Let's break those down. This shows the power of being specific perfectly. "Tell me about the solar system" is basically an invitation for a generic science lecture. But asking for the specific order of the planets, that gets you exactly the information you were looking for right away. Okay, so that was specificity. Now let's look at the second key, setting constraints. Here, the user isn't just asking for a summary, they're defining exactly how long that summary should be. That little number 3 is the crucial constraint. It's doing all the heavy lifting here. By defining the output length, you force the AI to do more than just spit back facts. You're asking it to synthesize, to prioritize, and to boil the topic down to its absolute essence. And because of that simple constraint, the output is perfect. It's short, it's focused, and it gives you a high-level understanding without any of the fluff. This is so incredibly useful when you just need to grasp a concept quickly. Now, setting constraints is just one strategy, and the best one always depends on what your goal is. This table here is a fantastic framework to help you think about that. Before you write a prompt, just ask yourself, what's my goal here? Am I asking for facts, giving an instruction? Do I need an evaluation? Or am I trying to create a story? Knowing your purpose helps you choose the perfect strategy every time. Okay, so you've got the basics down. Ready to level up? Let's move on to some more advanced strategies that can turn a simple Q&A into a really powerful, dynamic conversation. The first one is called prompt chaining, and the idea here is to not just ask one single question. Instead, you build a conversation where each new prompt refines or digs deeper into the last response you got. So you might start with a broad question like this, just to get a general overview. The AI gives you a great summary about antioxidants, brain function, all that good stuff. But what if you want to know more? Well, that's where you chain your next prompt. You take a specific piece of that first answer, the antioxidants, and you ask the AI to expand on it. This creates a focused, multi-step dialogue that lets you explore a topic in incredible detail. All right, another super powerful technique is adjusting a parameter called temperature. The easiest way to think about this is like it's a creativity dial. A low temperature makes the AI play it safe, choosing the most likely predictable words. That's great for factual answers. But if you crank up the temperature, you encourage it to take more risks and explore less common word choices. This is how you unleash its creativity for things like brainstorming or storytelling. So this is all great in theory, but how does it actually translate into the real world? Let's put these techniques to work with a couple of really practical examples. Okay, here's a fantastic business use case. Notice how the prompt starts by giving the AI a role, a persona, as a customer support chatbot.
This immediately frames the kind of response we're looking for, something helpful, clear, and action-oriented.
And boom, look at the result. It's not some long-winded paragraph. It's a perfectly structured, step-by-step guide that is immediately useful for a customer. This is the power of combining a persona with a clear, instructive prompt. And here's another one we can all relate to: content creation. The prompt isn't just write about meditation. It specifies the format, an introduction, and it specifies the tone, short and engaging. These little details guide the AI to create something that actually hooks the reader right from the start.
You know, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this simple but incredibly powerful equation. The quality of what you get out of an AI is directly tied to the quality of what you put in. Your prompts are the steering wheel.
By mastering this art of the ask, you really shift from being a passive user to being an active director. You're in control of one of the most powerful tools ever created. So the only question left is, what are you going to have it do next?